Today we're going to talk about heat transfer, conduction, convection, and radiation. Heat transfer is a type of energy transfer that goes between two systems, and this is a sensible energy transfer in that you can feel the heat going by one of these mechanisms. And it flows between two systems. A system can be a set of interacting entities that form a single system, like a coffee pot or a cell phone or a thunderstorm weather system. And systems have boundaries, and they have structure and function and a bunch of interacting subsystems that we can think about. The heat always flows, the energy always flows from hot objects, hot systems to cold systems. Even if we feel a cold air coming in, that's because cold air is advecting and taking heat from our warm bodies when we open that door in the winter. Energy transfer allows things to happen. So we need to have heat transfer, energy transfer for weather to even happen at all. And today we're going to talk about sensible heat. This is like the kinetic energy of molecules banging into each other. But next time we'll talk about latent heat, and this is the potential energy that you can't feel that usually has to do with evaporation or precipitation. So conduction, the first one. Which feels colder in a bathroom? The tile on your feet or the bath mat on your feet? And usually we would say the system that is taking the heat away from your foot, the tile, conducts the heat out of your warm foot into the cold tile, the room temperature tile, and your foot feels colder because there's heat transfer. But if we put it on the rug, it insulates our feet and it doesn't conduct the heat away from our foot, and the rug feels warmer, even though both have been sitting all day or all night at room temperature and are exactly the same temperature. Which way is the heat flowing? The heat flowing from the warm foot to the cold tile or the cold bath mat. What controls the heat flow? Well, we'll talk about that in a little while. When you enter the bathroom in the morning, you have a choice of either standing on the tile or the bath mat, and which one feels cooler? Well, if I stick my foot or my finger on the tile, the heat flows from my warm finger to the cool tile, and it feels cool. There's an energy transfer through conduction. If I stick my finger on the bath mat has a much lower thermal conductivity, and the heat leaves my warm finger to go to the cool bath mat at a much lower rate, so it doesn't feel as cold. And if I take a temperature, this is an infrared thermometer, 24.6 degrees for the tile and 24.6 degrees for the bath mat. Even though the tile feels colder, they're exactly the same temperature. They're both at. If you stick your finger on a piece of aluminum, you cool off your finger more. If you stick your finger on the wood, it cools it off less, again because of the conductivity of the aluminum is higher than the conductivity of the wood. If I stick my finger briefly on the tile or the aluminum block, I lose less heat than if I stick it there for a while. And what happens after a while? If I stick my finger there, the temperature of my finger gets cooler and the temperature of the aluminum gets warmer, and eventually they become the same temperature and heat doesn't transfer anymore. So now we're going to think about heat transfer due to conduction, and we're going to be looking at two different blocks, one of aluminum of a high thermal conductivity and one of wood of a low thermal conductivity. And when I press the warm finger to the cool block, there's more heat loss from my finger to the aluminum block, more heat transfer by conduction of the high thermal conductivity metal than the low thermal conductivity wood. So thermal conductivity has to do with heat transfer. If I stick my finger on the block, or two fingers on the block, I have twice as much heat transfer when the area is doubled. So area has something to do with it. If I stick my whole hand on, there's a whole bunch of heat loss because the area is so large. In addition, if I stick my finger just for a brief moment, there's only a little bit of heat loss. And if there's a long time, then there's more energy transferred from my warm finger to the aluminum block. So time has to do with heat transfer due to conduction. And finally, if I stick my finger on for a really, really, really long time, the block warms up, my finger cools down, and the temperature difference between my finger and the block becomes very small, and there's very little heat transfer due to conduction. Whereas when I put it on a new place, a very cold area, the temperature difference has a lot to do with and increases the heat transfer due to conduction. So the factors affecting heat transfer due to conduction have to do with either area, the thermal conductivity of the material, the duration of the time of contact, and the temperature difference between the two systems. So when we are doing this direct contact between a cold object and a hot object, we can actually write an equation. And it's not very difficult, it's actually pretty simple, that the energy that's transferred across from the hot to the cold object has to do with some very simple terms. One is the conductivity. Aluminum is more conductive than wood. Tile is more conductive than the bath mat. And therefore, the higher the conductivity, the more the energy is transferred. The temperature difference. If it's really hot, touching really cold, there's a lot of temperature difference. If the warm is the same as temperature as the colder object or very close to it, there's very little temperature difference and very little energy is transferred. The longer that you have the two things in contact, the more energy has opportunity to travel across that boundary. The area of touching, so if I just touch my finger on the tile versus my whole hand has more area of surface of cold on the hot, and I can transfer more energy in the same amount of time. And the thickness of the transfer from the warm to the cold, if I'm transferring for a very thin aluminum foil versus a very thick aluminum block, it takes more energy can be transferred over the thin material than the thick material. And this is true of insulation. So if I just go across my skin from my warm body to the air, it's very thin, but if I stick an insulating layer of like a down jacket or thermarest material, there's a thicker layer from that's separating the warm skin from the cold air. So this energy transferred, or delta Q, is equal to the thermal conductivity, or K, times the temperature differentials, the hot minus the cold temperatures, the amount of time times the area divided by the thickness, or L. The thermal conductivities vary from material to material, and we said that aluminum and copper and steel have very high conductivity, thermal conductivity. And this is very valuable for things like pans. We want to take the heat of the flame, the gas flame, and move it to the food as efficiently as we can so we don't waste energy and we can cook faster, and so we have high thermal conductivities of these metals. Concrete has a thermal conductivity of 1, which is much lower, but look at all these other things. Air, 0.02, wool, 0.04, styrofoam, 0.029, fiberglass, 0.042. That's insulation, the pink insulation that we have in our homes. What is the general piece here? If we trap air in wool or styrofoam or goose down, we can insulate, because air is not a good thermal conductor. And so that's one of the adaptations that we have to keep our house at the same temperature, to not lose heat in the winter. We insulate our roof, our ceilings. And bison here insulate themselves by trapping air in their thick fur, giving a larger thickness and lowering the amount of heat transfer possible across their fur. That was conduction. Convection is not direct touching, but the heat transfer due to movement. So we're going to take a look at a lava lamp in a second, but in this case, the heat source at the bottom is making the wax less dense, and it rises in the fluid around it, the water around it. When it gets to the top, it actually releases its heat at the top, it cools, and then becomes more dense than the surrounding fluid and sinks. And that happens with air in the atmosphere. We warm air in some areas and it rises, and the air loses its temperature or heat at higher altitudes and sinks in other places, forming a circulation pattern vertically. This is a lava lamp with two fluids, a wax and a water, and the heat source is at the bottom. So the heat source heats up the wax, which becomes less dense and rises in the more dense water around it. As it gets to the top, it loses its heat to the top, to the atmosphere, and it gets more dense and sinks, usually on the outside through the less dense fluid. And so this sets up a convection cell which efficiently transfers heat from the bottom to the top of the system. This is similar to a weather system where hot air rises and cool air sinks next to it, forming storms such as thunderstorms. And so convection is really dependent on differential heating, that the heat happens in one place of the stove or one place of the earth from the solar heating, and it's not as hot or not as much heating in another area. So the differential heating means it rises where it's hotter and sinks where it's cooler, and sets up a movement of convection. And this convection is a very efficient way of moving heat from one area to another because we're moving the air mass from one, or the water mass from one place to other, without having to have direct connection that we have in conduction. These set up these cells that we see in a pot of boiling water, and even in here's a fluid that we can map with an infrared camera where the heat is and how it rises and sinks. Convection examples include a radiator in your house. So here we have a radiator with the air getting warmer and rising, and then as it cools by the window it sinks, and so it resupplies that cool air, which then is in direct conduction with the hot radiator, and it rises again, and this convective overturn of the room heats the entire room, not just the area around the radiator. And again, the convection is an effective way of moving this heat throughout the room. We do this also on Earth. We heat at the equator where the sun is the strongest. It rises and it sinks somewhere like toward the north, maybe even at the North Pole, and there's a convection cell in the atmosphere that creates the different biomes that we have, the different climates we have, the deserts and the rainforests and whatnot. And we also have thermal convection in hurricanes and thunderstorms, where we have hot air rising next to cold air, and that differential air masses can actually create things like thunder and lightning that we hear. The third one is radiation. Radiation is where we think about energy transfer from one object through air or space that's absorbed by a second object. And what's critical about this is the type of medium that the radiation goes through, and what actually absorbs or reflects that radiation when it gets there. So an X-ray is radiation. It's energy that's coming from an X-ray machine and transferring right through your skin and flesh. The bone is a different material, it's denser, and it actually absorbs that radiation, and that's how we can see the X-ray of, in this case, your knee. Greenhouses and cars work the same way in that solar radiation comes through space. There's no direct touching like conduction. There's no air movement in space like convection. It's just radiation from a very hot object, the sun, that comes all the way through, and it sees a transparent glass window of the car or the greenhouse, and it goes right through. It's transparent to the visible radiation of the sun. But what happens is the plants or the ground, the soil, or the black upholstery of the car absorb that heat, turn it into infrared radiation, which is a different wavelength, and the infrared radiation looks at the window and does not see transparency. It looks opaque like a wall, and that infrared radiation is trapped inside the car, and the car gets hotter than the outside of the car. We've all had these warm days, these sunny days where it's warmer in the car than outside the car with windows closed. Same as the greenhouse. It's warmer inside than outside, and you can grow plants early in the spring when even there might be snow on the ground. If you have light materials that the sun, the radiation is shining on, it's different than if you have black. So if it's black, it gets very hot and absorbs the radiation, but the white reflects. And so if we're walking across a parking lot, we want to walk on the white material, the white part of the asphalt, because it's much cooler than the dark asphalt. And so these different sources of sort of radiation, we know radiation comes to the Earth. It has differential heating that can drive weather. If it has a high albedo or reflectivity, it is white and reflects maybe 80 or 90% of the energy straight back out through the atmosphere into space. But if it has a low albedo, like it's black or the ocean or a forest, it might only have a 10% reflectivity or a 90% absorption of all that energy, and it warms up. This radiation can be seen in different types of cameras and instruments. In this case, this is an infrared camera looking at a house where the heat is escaping the house, is in the windows and around the doors, but not through the insulated walls.
It's a bright sunny day, and I place some tiles, black and white tiles, out in the direct sunlight. Energy is being transferred through space and being absorbed by the black tiles and reflected by the white tiles. And this radiation is then heating up the black tiles. The black tile is much warmer at 52 degrees, and the white tile is 10 degrees cooler at 41 degrees or so. So radiation is transferring energy through space, not through conductivity, because there's no touching, not through convection because there's no air or fluid movement, but through radiation, which is being absorbed or reflected by different color materials.
So radiation, we know, has different wavelengths. The shorter wavelengths are more energetic, and from the visible, the Roy G. Biv, we can go to the ultraviolet, which is more damaging or more energy. And when it absorbs by your skin, it can actually cause cancer, and that's why we use sunscreen. And the longer wavelengths are the less energetic, things like heat in microwaves or the infrared radiation that we have in radio waves. It's completely harmless. It doesn't really interact with it, except that we can move signals through air and pick up TV and radio, etc. Um, so what we think about here is that the wavelength gets shorter, which means the energy gets stronger. It has to do with what the temperature of the source. The sun has very strong radiation and is visible, and a heat lamp might have less energetic radiation that comes back. What we have to think about, though, is the absorption and reflection of the Earth when it is absorbed by the sun. And what's interesting about plants is they absorb sunlight not just and convert it to heat, but photosynthesis can also take that energetic radiation and convert it to carbon sources like food, plant matter, glucose, etc. So in a summary for the heat transfer that we can feel, conduction is the process of two items that are touching, and the conduction has heat transfer going from the hot to the cold. It matters on the area of touching, the material that's touching, the conductivity, and how long you touch, and the thickness of the insulation. Convection is much more efficient than conduction and has to do with the movement of the fluid. The fluid is usually air or water, and because you're moving the fluid, you can move hot material someplace and cold air comes back and replaces that, and that is a good way of creating a weather system. Radiation is sort of driving all of the weather systems that we think about, and most of it comes in outdoors from the sun, but we also have radiation from light bulbs and other places. And this is really about absorbing radiation that has traveled through space, and the different amounts of heat that can be energy that can be transferred creates the system with more energy that allows things like weather systems to go.